Everybody, we are at 1,760 days. Barracks, and his life was taken brutally. And we are almost at 1 o'clock. Please forgive me. 12:30, 12:40, and it is May 28th, 2025. And we have huge breaking news. I think we've broken this case a long time ago, but it's like you've broken the glass, but it doesn't shatter. It's just cracks in it, right? Let me tell you, I think I think we shattered it tonight. Okay, you be the judge. You be the judge with this confirmation that we have. So, okay, we know. I don't think the people totally understand, but I think they get it. They get it. They understand that there is corruption. They understand that Richard was targeted. They understand that Richard absolutely was targeted because the DOD declared him deceased and then declared him in the line of duty. Okay, so they did not declare the in the line of duty until January 24, 2025, 4 days after President Trump took the oath of office. This is really, really big because the criminal trafficking that was being reported by Richard that implicated his unit was so big, it makes the Iran-Contra look like child play, okay? And we've been saying that for a while. It is a huge scandal, a huge scandal. And I've been explaining it to you. And, the question that we've had as patriots, we have almost 80 years of combined services in our immediate family. And then that's not counting all the rest of our family. So, we love our military. We've always been Go Army. And we are all about law enforcement. We're all about the courts, being law abiding, using the system that we pay for. We pay for with our taxpayer money to have these courts, to have the law enforcement community. And we're all about Texas. And to have a national defense, we pay our taxes in order to have that, to have accountability. We know that Richard's case has been tampered with, that Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe ordered it to be obstructed, ordered it to be tampered with. We know that through Kyla Cardona, his assistant. So that, we know that we have corroborating evidence today. And we know that whistleblower reports have been deleted, whitewashed. We know that his CID file is very tampered with, very tampered with. We know the CCTV footage was tampered with. We know witnesses were tampered with and intimidated. We know files were altered and tampered with and obstructed. We know we know that there's been a lot of fraud in this case. And today, and I'm going to post it, there's just not enough time in the day. There's not even time to sleep because of all of the information that's coming out. Well, we know that Richard's case is part of the Walmart case. What you might not know is that it also is part of Julio Cordero's case. And he lost his life not too long ago um, at El Paso Independent School District High School. He was shot and he lost his life. What you might not know about Julio Cordero is that he was a stellar, and we've had this information for a while. We've been, investigating as we were told to do by Richard's command, that we had to be the ones investigating. CID told us that we had to do the investigating and bring them the leads if we want them to do anything, which is so criminal, right? But we've conducted the investigations day in and day out, and I can tell you this, that Julio Cordero was a FBI agent. A family of FBI agents, just like our family, has a combined military service of about 80 years and more when you do our extended family. The Corderos have service within the FBI. And Julio was part of Poison Ponds, Operation Poison Ponds. He absolutely stellar FBI agent, absolutely going after corrupt officials and criminals. Corrupt officials and criminals. And I'll talk more about that. And you can look that up, Poison Ponds, Julio Cordero, Agent Julio Cordero. And he was retired when he lost his life, okay? And we don't have all the answers we want for that, but we have what really matters, and that is that he was investigating. He was investigating, even though he was retired, he was investigating. You never can take the FBI, you can never take the military, you can never take the FBI out of an FBI agent, right? And he was part of this Poison Ponds and was very, very successful at restraining all kinds of criminal activity and exposing and even arresting and putting in prison very prominent corrupted individuals. And you can look that up. So he was a stellar FBI agent. Richard was a stellar Army soldier. And that's really, really important because what was Julio Cordero about to release, right? That's the big question. And it is absolutely connected with the Richards case and the Walmart mass shooting. Okay, because it's really the same group of people that are involved in these huge criminal networks. So that is really a huge point that we wanted to make. And to shift to the breaking news, and that's not breaking news, that's just some information that's very important to this case for people to understand that there are absolutely good law enforcement officers in the ranks, and they do get retaliated against, but there are very good officers, law enforcement officers in the ranks, and that you should never give up hope. Never give up hope. Um, and everything's, because the criminals, they're going to be exposed, right? They're going to be exposed somehow, some way. It's just the nature of God is, if every argument, but what if every argument that you can make, it ends up in God is. God's in control. God is righteous. God is a God of order. That means he is all about law and order. So the criminals are going to be exposed sooner or later. That's just that's just the way um, time works, right? That's just the way creation works. So never lose hope, never give up. That's the message. And today we have huge breaking news. And here, I can't tell you how many times people have told us that maybe we should just give up. It's just too big. This big green machine, the deep state is too big. The deep state is too big. And but no, they might seem big, but they're very weak. They're very weak. They're criminal. They are very criminal, and they're dangerous, right? Because they're criminal. But never give up, ever. Never give up. And so today absolutely shows why you never give up. And it goes back to October, right? October of 2020, October 26, 2020, when Nidal Baem walked into that Dollar General, um, that Dollar General, and was looking at the door, was looking at Richard's flyer. We have it on CCTV footage. As he went into the building, he paused. He paused and looked at the flyer, and went inside and told the cashier that the search was over, right? The search for Richard Halliday was over, that she could take down uh, the flyer, that she could take down the flyer. And she wanted to know why. Why, is it over? Did you find him? She asked him that. Did you find him? Is he found? Because he also represented himself as an FBI agent. And that's why she said, did you find him? And, he said, yeah, FBI had found him. And then he went on a little story about looking in 5 different places for Richard. And she said, I lost him right there. Well, that's because Richard was dismembered. She didn't know that. She didn't know that these people are so wicked, that they're so brutal. And, so he went on to that story. And she then was paying attention to him. And he goes, so you can take it down. He's been found. And she goes, well, is he all right? And he said, come here, and he waves her over, and he goes, no, he's dead. He's dead. And she called us right away. As he was leaving, this is a very, very important part of the video, and you can see it. I've posted it up several times, and I will again. But as he leaves, as he tells her that, no, he's dead, then he puts his finger up to his mouth. Now, he has a mask on, but it doesn't matter. He puts his finger up to his mouth and tells her to shush, to be quiet, to be silent, that this is a secret. that Richard being found dead is a secret. Now, we were told, because she called us and we received the CCTV footage, and we videotaped her witness testimony. Thank you, Martha, for coming on this late. Um, and and we handed that in. That's evidence. That's evidence. And we were told by the FBI that he was a nobody. We were told by the command that he was a nobody, that they absolutely lied to us. And we knew at that point, we knew that they were lying to us. And that's when they decided to do the task force Find Richard Halliday. That's why they, General McConville decided to give us a phone call. That's why General Garrett decided to give us a phone call. When we look at our time records, when they called us, it was after we turned in the Nidal Baem CCTV footage and the cashier's testimony, because he is somebody. He's somebody. And it took us months, but we discovered who he was, and we called him up, and he admitted that that was him in the video. Okay? He admitted. He confessed. He confessed to being that man. And saying what he said, and he confessed. Now, this is huge, because everyone knows by now, if you're keeping up with this case, that he's the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ATCOM. He is in Richard's chain of command, right? That's Richard's chain of command. He is a Palestinian arms dealer with a long criminal record. A lot of theft, a lot of fraud, and even terroristic threats. So he is absolutely somebody. What you might not know, if that's not enough, right? That he's a Palestinian arms dealer with a long criminal history and related to somebody that has total access in the G3, right, which is a secret clearance, in the 32nd ADCOM. That's our air defense artillery that also controls drones. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. And what you might not know is that I would call that his wife, he was living with a woman for more than 2 decades, just about 3 decades. This is Chavira. Chavira is related to the chief of police for the El Paso ISD, Manuel Chavira, and also to the Texas Ranger that was assigned to our case, Gustavo Sanchez. Gustavo Sanchez, the Texas Ranger assigned to our case, and people, have so many questions, right, about all that. Because what the heck are they doing, right? Well, now you know why. because he is the brother-in-law of Manuel Chavira and connected to Nidal Baem. He's a family. So you have Nidal Baem is family, FBI man, with Bradford Bugado, Lieutenant Colonel, is family with the Texas Ranger assigned to our case, Gustavo Sanchez, and the El Paso Independent School District Chief of Police, Manuel Chavira. Now, that is like mind-blowing. But you know what else? They're absolutely connected to Arturo Alba. Lily Chavira, his wife. Arturo Alba's wife is a Chavira, and related, confirmed related. And then, of course, that connection with Willie Moya. Of course, that connection with Renee Renee Diaz, that was managing unqualified, totally unqualified. And so was Manuel Chavira when he got his chiefdom of the ISD. He was unqualified, and it really shook a lot of things up. And so was Luis Rene Diaz when he got the manager of the prosecuting office for 3 counties in Texas, the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office, to have that kind of access and be that connected to Mexican cartel is shocking, absolutely shocking. And, so there is now hard evidence that no one can deny that the reason why there were leaks to Ruggiero, right? Leaks to Ruggiero. Richard First Sergeant's wife's Gema. There's more information on that coming. But there were leaks everywhere, obstruction, interference with Richard's murder case. And the access was absolutely huge for Nidal Baem. So this corroborates not only does Nidal Baem have that FBI connection with Nieto, right? With Jesus Eddie Nieto, but he has access, family access, personal access to the Texas Ranger that was assigned to our son's case and to the chief of police for the ISD involved in what Julio Cordero, the stellar FBI agent, that was the lead investigator for Poison Ponds, what he was looking into. And he lost his life at the hands of an officer from the El Paso ISD. I think that is really mind-blowing. And that's not all. You think that's mind-blowing? It is mind-blowing. It absolutely breaks his case. And it's not me saying it. It's family. It's addresses, phone numbers, marriage certificates. It's like the Mayela Crucius connection. It's like the 2028 stamp from Montoya. I had nothing to do with the 2028 stamp on Montoya's falsified installation documents for district attorney. I had nothing to do with it. That was all him. I had nothing to do with the marriage between Michael Mayella's daughter, the manager of the federal courthouse, and Patrick Crusius's brother, Brian Crusius. I had nothing to do with that. Now, Steven Spitzer had something to do with it. He knew all about it. El Paso Matters, Bob Moore had something to do with it. He knew all about it. He knew that wedding was coming. I had no clue. I had nothing to do with it, but I'm reporting it. I'm reporting it because it has everything to do with these cases. The Walmart mass shooting, the El Paso Community Foundation investigation into the the fraudulent giving of Walmart victims funds to unqualified applicants, right? That have nothing to do with this, and they were receiving upwards of $200,000 from the 12 million, over 12 million. So it is absolutely stunning, and I'm not even done yet. And I'm just reporting on it that Nidal Baem is related by marriage to Manuel Chavira, the chief police officer for the El Paso Independent School District. And he is the brother-in-law of the Texas Ranger that was assigned to our case, Gustavo Sanchez. And they are related to the wife of Arturo Alba, who is then related to Willie Moya. Willie Moya, the big Mexican cartel money launderer. And Nidal Baem is related to Bradford Bugado, Lieutenant Colonel in the G3. You don't think that Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe didn't know that? The CID didn't know that? They absolutely knew it. This is absolutely confirmation. Evidence confirms the obstruction and the interference in our son's case, in our son's murder case, our son's murder in the line of duty on Fort Bliss case because he was reporting criminal trafficking connected with the borderland, El Paso borderland cartel, Mexican cartel. And each agency has this cartel-tied person in there, right? And I'm not even done yet. I still have another breaking news. And we knew that something really, really stinky happened to Richard's car. Okay? We knew that we were being lied to about our son's car, about our son's phone, about our son's possessions. I mean, you had Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia's family members in the possession of Richard's financial information and his credit cards after he was murdered. So we knew. And we knew that they were lying to us because we knew that they lied to us about Nidal Baem, and it was really, really big, and that they were lying to us. And we knew that they were lying to us about Judge Roger Rodriguez's whistleblowing report. We knew that they were lying to us about Dallas Hart. We know that he was Richard's platoon leader. We knew that they were lying to us about Leilani Hart, and she's a convicted criminal with such a long record. It goes back before Richard was even born. We know that they are connected to Nidal Baem, right? And that they have this connection in the CID, access to information in the VA. They have access to all of our files, all of the financial information. They have it. And they are compromised and they are criminal. And, and Richard's car is no different. Richard's car was bought from Chavira, from Chavira. And that's why we were getting false information about his car from Agent Soto. This really implicates Marlon Soto Hernandez. It implicates everybody, doesn't it? It implicates everybody. What they've done to us, and when I say us, I'm talking about our son. What they did to Richard, and what they've done to this case is so treasonous. They are such traitors, and they need to be held to the utmost. They have to be held to the fullest. The fullest. They must be held accountable for what they've done, because their belly is never full. Their belly of evil is never full. Their belly of grand theft, larceny is never full. And if that means killing, if that means covering up the murder, if that means trafficking children, hundreds of thousands of them, if that means trafficking very dangerous substances that compromise our national security by allowing it to go onto our military bases, if that means trafficking and smuggling weapons and equipment and ammunition, their belly is never full. They keep going. They keep going. So they must be held accountable. They must be restrained. And what they've done, and then they're so smug and self-satisfied because they think they've got their bases covered. They need to look up to heaven, because God's got their number. God's got their number. And their smugness, their obstruction, their continuing intimidation tactics, and all their connections it's all coming out, and they need to be held accountable. And their lies. So it really is a breaking news day. Every day is, right? With Richard's case, every day is. But this is huge, because we know that they lied to us about the car. We know now that the Texas Ranger that was assigned to us, and it has to do with some other people too, because Ruggerio's is definitely involved, and Command Sergeant Major Shaky Snaky Jake, and we'll release more as soon as we check and double check. We check and double check. I just put up the connection between Julio Cordero's case, Richard's case, and the Walmart case. I think it's huge. And there's a lot to it. And so we'll be explaining that more and more. But that's a good introduction. So thank you, everybody, so much for sticking with us for so long, so many years. And just think of this. The chief of police for the El Paso ISD, the Texas Ranger, that was assigned to our case. The FBI FBI man, I call him, because he absolutely he's an impersonator. He should be put in prison, but uh, but absolutely has ties to the FBI and has ties uh, to the Texas Rangers, to the El Paso ISD police force, right? The chief, to get access to information, and then to the G3 of the 32nd AdCom through his son-in-law, Bradford Bugado. So, and this is all to manipulate, for profitable, for profit, right? To manipulate. And Richard was reporting criminal trafficking in line with President Trump. And this is the last part of what I have to say today. It's very important for everyone to understand that when President Trump won the presidency in 2016, in 2017, he is a businessman. He streamlines. He doesn't like waste. He streamlines because he wants to profit off of his hotels, his restaurants, his golf courses. He wants profit. So he wants a big bang for his buck. And so when he took office in 2017, he began to go after he became the Doge, right? He became the Doge. He went after the fraud, waste, and abuse. And the biggest area is El Paso. He absolutely was auditing Fort Bliss, investigating El Paso, and the fraud, waste of federal monies. And this is what I wanted to talk about today, was about these school closures. Why are they closing so many schools? Because they overbuilt. They overtaxed the people of El Paso because they were greedy with these contracts, and they built things that the people of El Paso don't need. And why didn't you notice? Well, because they were fudging. They were fudging big. They were sending these really nice, luxurious bus coaches over to Juarez and picking up Mexican children and bringing them over to the United States to educate them right there in El Paso, Texas, and filling the schools that way. And paying for it all, making taxpayers pay for it all. And so now, with the closure, just like in the first administration of 45, where he was President Trump was investigating, auditing. Now he also doesn't want fraud, waste, and abuse, and educating Mexican children on the American taxpayer dime is not our job, right? It's not, that's we can't do that. Now, if a private school wants to do that with private funds, they can absolutely do that. Catholic charity, Baptist charity, Anglican charity, they can absolutely decide to take their money and bring, a program or whatever over. They have to get their visas, right? They have to get visas. But, if they want to set up a school over in Mexico, they can do that if they want to educate these children. And, I encourage them to all go and open up schools there if that's what they want to do. That's, let's be free, right? Let's be free. But with taxpayer money, that is scheduled and told to the taxpayer, set aside to the taxpayer to educate American children, and then they fudge and build these many, many schools when they're not necessary. and then have to fill them up, and then they commit fraud and bring over uh, uh, Mexican children, Mexico's responsibility, uh, into the United States to fill the schools and charge the taxpayers that, really would like to keep some of their own money. They would like to keep some of their own money, right? And it is just through these contracts, it's really greed. That's what it is. It's greed. So it's grand theft larceny. It's greed. So thank you, Martha. Thank God that you have the strength to not give up. Otherwise, you would never know. Prayers for strength and peace. I know. Can you believe this? It's almost 5 years, and we finally figured out that Nidal Baem is related to the Texas Ranger that was assigned to our case. Can you believe it? It's just, and that Chavira is related, that whole thing with Richard's car. I just have chills. So we, and we didn't make this up. We have the receipts. When we received information to look into Manuel Chavira, of the chief of police for the El Paso ISD, I put in Chavira in my notes, and there was the car information. So, God has perfect timing. God has very perfect timing, and this is just jaw-dropping. It's going to take a couple days to, I think, to go out to the world, right? So please share, because this is really breaking the whole case apart. It really is, because it just shows you the institutional obstruction and interference in our son's case. So thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye.